Hello everyone, it's your friend, your boy, Jet Black the One Only here with another exciting video, and in this video, I'm going to be playing more AI Dungeon 2. AI Dungeon 2. I'm going to be continuing the story of Water Wizard. If you guys didn't see Water Wizard Episode 1, it's essentially an AI Dungeon 2 campaign that I'm doing single player as an ongoing adventure series on the channel. It's essentially about an amnesiac wizard named Jet who has the special rune that allows him to create water constructs. He's trying to essentially master hydrokinesis as he struggles to remember essentially anything about the world around him. So everything seems new to him, and he even forgets simple things like how old he is. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the story, but without further ado, let's jump in to today's episode. Okay, so the last thing that Jet tried to do, he was trying to train to master water construct creation, to which then the AI said, "You continue practicing until you reach a level where you can create water constructs as easily as you can make apple slices. You also notice that the more time passes, the easier it becomes to control these water constructs." So I'm going to tattoo the water elemental rune to my hand. Well, I guess I would say on my hand. I want to get a tattoo of it on my hand because right now it's on my staff. And I feel like if something happens to my staff, I'll lose the ability to create water constructs. You quickly get a tattoo of the water elemental rune on your left arm. After doing this, you immediately go out and grab a bunch of apples from the tree. You eat them all in one sitting and feel amazing. I don't know why I ate a ton of apples, but whatever. Sounds good to me. Nothing wrong with getting plenty of fruit. Let's see. I want to make sure that the music is up high enough for you guys to hear it. Yeah, the music seems like it's up high enough for you guys to hear it. Okay, cool. Let me add that to the remember command. Let's see. So I'm looking around. Here we go. This is where I'll put it. You have the water elemental rune tattooed. I think it's always used as a proper noun. Yeah, water elemental is always capitalized, but rune is always lowercase. You have the water elemental rune tattooed to your left arm. Let's see. Hey, it seems like AI Dungeon 2 is working a lot better tonight than it was last night. Okay, now I'm going to sew the water elemental rune. I guess I don't have to capitalize it because I don't capitalize it here. Sew the water elemental rune into your robes. I want to make sure that no matter what, I can always utilize the power of the rune. You quickly put the rune on your robe before going back inside. You then proceed to wear the robes all day long. You even sleep in them, but they're not really necessary since you control your water constructs just fine without them. I mean, that's true, because of the fact that I have it tattooed on my hand and it's on my staff. The robe is just a redundancy, but I want to make sure that I always have it on me. So I'm also going to include that in the remember I almost said the remember campaign, in the little remember box. You have the water elemental rune sewn into your robes. Okay. Now, I'm going to inscribe the water elemental rune inside of my spell book. Redundancies. Must make sure. You quickly write the rune in your spell book. You then sit down at your desk and begin to read through the book. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So far, We haven't been stopped, which is nice. They haven't said you can't do X, Y, or Z when it comes to making sure that the rune is everywhere. I mean, that seems good to me. The rune's literally on my person. It's on all the items that I have with me. So that's good. Now, what do I want to do with it? You know, I can manipulate water. I'm gonna search for a hydrokinesis master. I'm gonna try and see if I can find someone who's already mastered the abilities of hydrokinesis. You quickly look around the room and find a large stone block, which is about the size of a small house. It seems like there should be something underneath it, but you can't see anything. You pick up the rock and check its weight. So, how big would the room have to be for the block to be the size of a small house? And then, how strong would I have to be able to pick up the rock? So I'm gonna try to determine how heavy the rock is. Maybe I'm super strong. Let's see, you drop the rock onto the floor and it rolls off of you. It lands in front of you and you take a closer look at it. It's an ordinary piece of basalt. Basalt. I gotta look that up now. Basalt weight. How much is it? It weighs around 3 grams per cubic centimeter, or 3011 kilogram per cubic meter. Blah blah blah. Dang, I'm trying to calculate this feat of lifting this rock. The rock is such a random bullshit thing that they introduced. I guess I shouldn't focus on it. The reason why I was interested in focusing on it was for scaling, to be oh shit, am I super strong? Because if I can lift a small room's worth of basalt, I was this is gonna be insane. But I feel like it's just gonna waste time. So I'm gonna not focus on the rock thing. I'm actually gonna undo the rock thing. And I'm gonna try to redo the hydrokinesis master thing. Okay, well, hold on. Would I hit the restart button from here? Not the restart button, but the retry button. Oh, it looks like my thing's gone. It looked like it got rid of it when I hit the retry button. That's not what I meant to do. So let me, once again, search for a master of hydrokinesis to train me. That's how I should have phrased it. Made it very clear what I was doing. You look around for someone who could teach you about the art of hydrokinesis. You find a few people who are interested in learning, but none seem to be able to help you. Eventually you decide that it would probably be best if you learned everything yourself. Okay, so there's no one who can really teach me about hydrokinesis, which is actually really interesting, because I'm curious who created this rune. If I could figure out the origins of the rune, maybe I could find someone who's a master of hydrokinesis who could teach me. So I'm gonna say, search for a master of elemental runes to train me. Because if I can learn mastery over elemental runes, maybe I'll learn how to control more than just water. You head over to the library where you see several bookshelves filled with books. You pick up a book entitled Elemental Runes and begin reading through it. The book begins by telling you that there are 3 types of elemental runes: water, air, and earth. It's interesting that there's not a rune of fire, but I guess that's because the fireball spell is supposedly a really simple beginner spell. But the fireball spell is trash, which makes me think that fire in general in this fantasy world is like hot garbage and not worth messing with. It doesn't even have an elemental rune. So that's interesting. I want to search. Find the rune. Find the air elemental rune and copy it into your spellbook. If I can collect all 3 runes, then I'll be able to control all 3 of those elements. You open up the book and start looking through it. After a couple hours of searching, you finally find something interesting. It seems that this book was made before the Great Cataclysm occurred. There are now only 2 elements left, air and earth. Whoa! Whoa, hold on. But that contradicts... Wait, because now there's an ad fucking up the music. So, you're telling me that the water rune is lost? And I don't know how old I am, but all my stuff is ancient, which implies that I probably existed prior to the Great Cataclysm in which the water elemental rune was lost. So I may be the last waterbender kind of thing? That's wild. That's also just not what I said I was gonna do. That's not what I said I was trying to do at all. But that still is pretty crazy. So, air and earth are the only 2 elements left? That's cool. So that implies... That's why I couldn't find anyone who was a master of hydrokinesis. There are no masters of hydrokinesis because the water elemental rune was lost after the Great Cataclysm. Oh shit. Go into the fucking remember command. Okay. So I'm gonna say, there are 3 types of elemental runes. Water, earth, and air. The water rune was supposedly lost after an event known as the Great Cataclysm. And I want to make sure I spell it right. Where is it? Oh, it's because the remember command is so tall, it was like blocking that area of the text. Okay, here we go. Cataclysm. You are the only person who remembers. Well, it's not that you're the only person who remembers the water elemental rune. You're the only person who still possesses the water elemental rune. That is really crazy. So, this is like a really interesting way for the world to like build and develop. Because I'm essentially like preserving like an element of like magic history. So hold on. Search for the air elemental rune. Apparently I've been searching for hours, but I still want to find it. I've learned some really good history, but I would like to get it. You continue to read through the book until you find what you're looking for. It appears that this rune has been lost since the Great Cataclysm. You try to copy it into your spellbook, but nothing happens. What? Interesting. So hold on. The air elemental rune no longer works after the events of the Great Cataclysm. What the fuck was the Great Cataclysm? It straight up has... So, water's lost. I'm the only one who has water. Air doesn't work. You can't use air. I have air, and it doesn't do anything to have air. That's... Well, what about Earth, then? Does that mean water and Earth are the only two that still work? Excuse me. Search for the Earth elemental rune. You continue to look through the book until you find what you're looking for. It appears that this rune has been lost since the Great Cataclysm. You try to copy it into your spellbook, but nothing happens. So, air and earth are both inert, and water is lost to time, but I have water and I can use water, and I have been using water. I'm not even going to run into any other elemental benders except fire, because the fireball spell is supposedly like the beginner most basic spell that there is. So I imagine like every wizard knows how to do like fire stuff. But I also, based on what I've learned, none of them know how to do water, air, or earth stuff. So that's kind of crazy. Did I ever try to cast Fireball, or did I read about Fireball and go like, this is trash? Yeah, I immediately, after I learned that Fireball can only be used on willing targets, and that if you mess it up, it blows up in your face, I was like, what does the rune do? Because Fireball's trash. And then it was like, the rune is like hella good. So then I was like, oh, well, I just won't mess with Fireball. But it's literally the only other element that you can learn, from like what I can tell. That's weird. The air and earth elemental runes no longer work after the events of the Great Cataclysm. Research what happened during the Great Cataclysm that caused the air and earth elemental runes to stop working. Because now I want to know why they don't work. But the water one works, it just seems like nobody knows about it. After a few days of researching, you come up with several theories about what could have caused all these changes. One theory is that there was an ancient magical war between the gods. The gods fought each other and destroyed everything in their path. So, due to a war between magical gods, the air and earth elemental runes lost their power, and the water elemental rune was lost to time. But that's just a theory. Interesting. So I want to write that down. You have a theory that the Great Cataclysm was a war between gods that led to the earth and air runes losing their power. So I guess I would want to research why the gods went to war during the events of the Great Cataclysm. Because I don't know why the war happened, and that might be more interesting than the war itself. The last day passes by quickly. By nightfall, you realize that you haven't eaten anything today. This isn't something you normally do, but given how hungry you are right now, eating something would be better than nothing. That's not what I said. It's fine to be hungry, but I also thought it phrased it weirdly, because it's not like I don't eat. I eat apples and shit. Another day of researching. You come up with several theories about what could have caused all these changes, and it just kind of repeats itself. So let me jump back. And then let me jump back again, I guess. I have been researching for days. I should likely, eat something and rest, or whatever. Eat a bunch of fresh apples and rest. Just to keep our strength up. The next day you decide to go out and get some food. Walking around town, you see a lot of people eating fresh apple slices. They taste delicious. Okay, cool. Yeah, apple slices just seem to be the thing. Because I've been eating apples. Everybody around town's eating apples. Apples are just the best. So now what? I wanted to figure out why the gods were fighting. Visit a temple and ask the priest why the gods fought during the Great Cataclysm. You walk towards a nearby temple and knock on the door. A young man opens the door and greets you. He looks like he's in his early 20s, but you can tell he's older than that due to his appearance. But you can tell he's older than that. I'm gonna say due to his, mannerisms. I think that makes more sense. Ask the priest why the gods fought during... Also, I'm gonna skip this song. Ask the priest why the gods fought during the Great Cataclysm. Because I need to know this. He tells you that it was a time of great chaos and violence. He says that the gods had been fighting for centuries, but they couldn't kill each other because they were too powerful. The gods finally decided to fight one another by unleashing a terrible force called the Chaos Storms. What's that? Ask the priest what Chaos Storms are. Well, actually, hold on. Before we do that, get on that remember command. I'm going to get rid of the part where it's like you have a theory. It's just all but been confirmed. The Great Cataclysm was a war between gods that led to the earth and elemental runes losing their power. The gods fought during the Great Cataclysm for hundreds of years, but were unable to kill each other due to their immense power. Let's see. And then he said, the gods fought each other by releasing a terrible force known as the Chaos Storms. Okay. We're getting some lore in here. Ask the priest what Chaos Storms are. Because I don't know what chaos storms are. A chaos storm is a violent storm of chaotic energy that is released when two or more deities clash with each other. It causes destruction and havoc throughout the area. The priests say that this happened before, but it wasn't until the Great Cataclysm that it became such a widespread phenomenon. Interesting. I'm just gonna copy this verbatim into the fucking remember command. That's a pretty good way to describe it. Let's see. Oops. I actually hit the wrong thing. I need to hit the remember command. Here we go. Where are we at? And then let's see. Chaos storms. Oh, I already scrolled down. I don't know. I was trying to scroll down more. Chaos storms cause destruction and havoc. Chaos storms became. Let me skip this ad so we can get the music back. Chaos storms became a widespread phenomenon after the Great Cataclysm. Okay. It's struggling a little bit. It's trying to load that last little bit of information into the remember command. Come on. Come on. Because AI Dungeon 2 last night was like constantly broken. So I'm like crossing my fingers that like, ooh, I hope it doesn't break. I hope AI Dungeon 2 isn't messing up again. Especially when we're getting on like this huge lore kick. Yesterday's AI Dungeon 2 campaign was like painfully slow due to all of the loading and all of the like glitches and mess ups and stuff like that. So I'm actually pretty hyped that AI Dungeon 2 has been working so well. Damn. Just as I'm like praising it for working so well, it breaks. So now we gotta wait. I'm refreshing it. I mean, I could end the video right here. Like I said, I don't think these episodes all have to be an hour long or anything. So maybe episode 2, since it went well for like half an hour, which is like a standard length of like a television show episode or something anyways, we can just end it right here. Especially since we were on that white screen. White screen doesn't want to load. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring the notification bell to be notified whenever we do these videos. Thank you all once again for tuning in. This is your friend, your boy, Jump Like the One Only. Log it out. Peace. Make sure you check out my video, These Superheroes Do Not Exist, and let me know in the comment section below if you guys are liking the Water Wizard series or not. Like, should I keep doing this? My plan is to just keep playing the same campaign essentially forever and just see what happens. But anyways, thank you all once again for tuning in. This is your friend, your boy, Jump Like the One Only, logging out. Peace, guys. Check it out.